Start the proceedings, it gives me immense pleasure to invite the Honorable Director, Professor Kamakoti, to address the gathering.
Very good morning and welcome to IIT Madras campus. Yes, this is indeed a very important step that IIT Madras has taken in setting up this Center for Responsible AI. We had been dealing with AI for more than several decades now. I still remember as a part of my MS program, I did do a course on AI. We started with Lisp, then we started with rule-based systems, then we have graduated and now we use very complex systems. And now there is a stage that we have reached that we now have to start assigning responsibility for what the tool does, because we are not very clear of what the tool outputs and what are the predictions that the tool makes and how can this be justifiable. So that is, so from completely we actually writing the tools that will, adhere to certain rules. Now we have reached a stage where we have to interpret the reasons for why a particular tool is outputting, and that's the real transformation in AI that has happened over the last 3 decades. So I just found that there are 6 important things that we need to look at. First is, when we look at responsible AI, we need to have this sort of what we call as this human augmentation. In some sense, when somebody writes a tool, somebody makes a AI-based prediction system, they must understand the cost of misprediction. And so that is something very extremely important, and their domain knowledge fully comes in. We are recently launched a school of medical sciences, and I'm sure no doctor is going to agree if I say based on a set of data, this is the treatment procedure that they need to follow. There must be a sort of a very clear explanation given, and that is a responsibility of the tool designer. I think that is one part which is making things always say, oh, AI will take off all the jobs. I don't think AI is going to take any job, provided there are enough domain expertise that is necessary. And the domain expertise is not what we have now. I think more intricate understanding of the domain is also necessary. For example, if you take the health, again, a much more concrete way of defining how different parts of the body works is now more necessary rather than just the symptomatic type of diagnostics and treatment that we are currently doing. I think so an engineering interpretation is necessary, and that's what we are attempting through the Department of Medical Sciences and Technology. So this is something extremely important. The second thing, of course, that we have been talking of quite significantly, that's the bias in the data set. And now the responsible AI, I'm sure we are now going to look at how do we define this bias, and is there a golden standard where I go and certify that the data set is not biased? And then if there are systems which are going to learn by itself, then over a period of time, is it not learning a bias, right? So these are some of very interesting questions that are going to come. And the explainability with justification is something which is crucial here, and not only in terms of medical, but even in terms of finance. Today we make a decision. There are 2 things that are really intriguing. One is the financial market, where we are seeing lot of interventions. Even the regulators now say that we can try to bring in more automation into the system, where data can help you as a business aid. And suppose we take a decision based on what a tool does and something goes wrong, will the regulator catch the tool or the bank? These are questions. So this is something that we need to answer very comprehensively. And the next question is that we have this L2 driven cars, right? And some of the things that happened, I did drive a car with some amount of automation from here to Mahabalipuram, and it actually sees the speed board, and depending upon the speed limit, it reduces the speed. And there was a 80 speed limit beyond some point, and then the 8 was partially erased, and it started 0, and the car started breaking down, right? So meaning stopping, right? So what is this? And if some vehicle comes from behind and hits, who is responsible? Is the name board or the software or the driver? So lot more things come when we try to make these tools, and there should be an explainability of the behavior of this tool or whatever the prediction that the tool gives with some justification. There is also a growing need to have reproducible operations, which is again something which we need to look at in great detail when we start using deep learning, where we need to say that this justification given this scenario, again when I input to the tool, there should be the same type of prediction must come, and then that prediction must be reproducible, so that even if there is a bug or there is a misprediction, we need to understand why the tool has done it. And the last two are extremely important that we see even when we try to bring in automation, not just AI, just to capture data. One is trust. We need to build trust in the organization, because everything now we say will go digital, and that trust must bring in a notion of privacy. Privacy is not just about privacy of an individual, privacy of an organization. Privacy of an organization is that no leakage of their own data, which is extremely crucial for their business. So building this trust is extremely important, and as all of you know, trust transcends all definition of any equivalence relation. Trust is not reflexive. We don't trust ourselves sometimes. Trust is not symmetric. I trust you, not trust me. Trust is not transitive. A trusts B, B trusts C. A need not necessarily trust C. In addition, trust is highly temporal. Morning I trust you, evening I don't trust you. Trust is also context sensitive. I trust you for something, I don't trust you for something else. So all these things put together, trust is a very ill-defined concept, but ironically or fortunately, society has been running on trust for several centuries. Okay, but then building that trust, which is not even defined, and ensuring is extremely important, and privacy will play a very important role. And a lot of other important thing today is that if you start collecting data, what is the risk of the data being leaked, or what is the risk of maintaining that data and taking no action? So what sort of liabilities come because you are collecting data? So this data risk awareness also is very, very important. Unless we see, ultimately as a center of responsible AI for here, we'll be doing things which are research oriented, etc. And we may be publishing papers. But then the most important thing that comes is these things must be usable, and the usable comes when the last mile people, the end user, actually starts using this with confidence. And the last 2 points, I feel it's very important today, because when we work with financial organizations in particular, there is a feel of loss of trust, because of they all feel that the more we start building certain engines and giving out the data, there might be loss of privacy, or the moment we keep this data around, and if people don't know what is the importance of data, and if they, for example, simple things like when they donate the computers to schools, right? So a bank changes the computers once in 3 years. Early days when the computers are given to schools, somewhere the school opened up and the disk, and there was complete account details, right? So this is data risk, right? For example, so we need to remove that disk and completely format it, and that disk should be destroyed, and new disk must be given. This is very simple, but this is the data risk, and so I think these are very important. And so I see this center, one, working on very niche problems, addressing these things, but also working very deeply on policy and processes, and also run several awareness courses which will make the end users comfortable in using AI. I think these are all the responsibilities. I think responsible AI, again, that responsible adjective is still, it's evolving. I think we should keep redefining it and making it more and more robust. With this, again, it's a very important activity for IIT Madras. We are starting a campus in Tanzania, Zanzibar. The first course that we are going to introduce there is data science and AI, and we will also have a MTech in data science and AI. So, and I also jovially say everybody here, including the monkey of IIT Madras, wants to learn machine learning and data science. So that's the impact that we have in this field. I'm sure this is going to go to great heights, and I wish the team all the success. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Kamakoti, for the inaugural address. I request Professor Raghu to hand over a token of memento for Professor Kama.